All right, let's dive into this one. The Science of Getting Rich by Wallace D. Wattles, a real classic. Early 1900s, people still talking about it today. Why? Well, it's packed with some interesting ideas about attracting wealth. Some of them kind of surprising.
Yeah, Wattles doesn't just talk about like money in the bank. He connects it to a much bigger idea. Abundance, the resources to really express your potential, like in every way, physically, mentally, even spiritually.
He comes out strong, too,
Wow.
right from the beginning, saying everyone has a right to be rich. In fact, he says settling for less than you're capable of is almost, well, he uses the word sin. It's like he's saying, don't shortchange yourself. Don't shortchange the world. Go after that abundance. What do you think of that?
Pretty bold statement, right? It definitely goes against the grain, right? Most self-help stuff talks about being content with what you have. Wattles, he turns that upside down. He says real richness is not about being satisfied with a little. It's about expanding what you can experience, what you can contribute. And for that, he says, you need resources, not just money, but the resources to develop your talents, to pursue your passions, and to really make a difference.
And that's where it really gets interesting. He doesn't just say you deserve to be rich. He says, here's the formula. A precise formula, he calls it the science of getting rich. And he's very clear. It's not about luck. It's not even really about talent or hard work alone. It's about doing things in a certain way.
Right, that's the foundation, his core idea. He thinks there are specific laws, universal laws. They govern how wealth is created, just like physics or math. And if we line ourselves up with these laws, we get predictable results. It's not about your circumstances. It's about how you approach things.
To explain this certain way, though, he goes deep into metaphysics. With this idea of an original substance, he says it's formless, a thinking stuff that everything is made from. And here's where it gets mind-blowing, okay? He says our thoughts, like when we really think about something, when we impress them onto this substance, they cause it to take form in the real world.
It's kind of like that law of attraction thing,
Yeah.
or manifestation. But Wattles takes it even further. He tries to explain how it works, the mechanics. He says this original substance, it's like a river, a constantly flowing river of creative energy. And our thoughts, they're like molds, shaping this energy into the stuff we see in our lives.
So, okay, we've got this powerful force, creative force, flowing through the universe, and our thoughts can shape it. But how do we tap into it? How do we do it the right way? Wattles says gratitude, big time. He doesn't mean just, feeling good. He means it's a principle, like a fundamental principle to align ourselves with this creative force.
He gets into this action-reaction principle. Think of it like every action has an equal opposite reaction, like physics. So when we're grateful, we're sending out a force, a positive force, into the universe. And Wattles says the universe, it responds. It draws more good stuff to us.
So it's not just about feeling good. It's about creating a loop, like a positive feedback loop. With the universe, I've heard of those gratitude journals, or like people trying to say what they're grateful for every day. Have you ever messed around with that kind of stuff?
I have, yeah. I think there's something to it. When you think about what you're grateful for, it changes your perspective. You start noticing the good stuff around you, even the little things. And that helps, It creates a better mindset, more open to things.
Besides gratitude, Wattles is big on visualization and faith. He's talking about, picture it clearly. Picture what you want, your dream house, financial freedom, whatever, and believe it. Really believe that it's already yours.
It's not just daydreaming, though. It's actively putting that desire out there into that original substance and not wavering, believing it's on its way to you. He even has this example in the book. This guy, he visualizes all these improvements to a house. The thing is, he's renting it. But guess what? He ends up owning the house, and he gets to remodel it, just like he saw it in his mind. It's a pretty powerful story, right? Thought and belief can really change things.
Hold on. Before we all start building mansions in our heads, Wattles is clear. Action matters. You can't just think about being rich. You got to do something. You got to take steps, real steps, to use the wealth that comes your way.
Absolutely, yeah. Wattles isn't about passive wishing. He makes that very clear. He uses this analogy, like a sewing machine. You can't just think it into existence. You got to take action to get it. Thought is the start, but action makes it real.
So it's both intention and action. You use your mind for the vision and your body to make it happen.
Exactly. He really stresses that we have to act now. Wherever we are, we got to move towards those goals. Don't wait for the perfect moment or the right situation. Start where you are, use what you have, and push forward.
So how do we actually do this certain way in real life? Wattles suggests finding the right business, something that uses your natural talents, but also, brings you joy.
Yeah, that balance is important. He says you can succeed in anything, but finding work that fits your purpose, that's where the magic is. It's easier, it's more fulfilling. It's like he's asking us to look at our work, Does it feel right? Does it use our skills and passions? If not, what can we do, even small things, to move in that direction?
He also says it's not just the work itself. Every interaction, business, personal, it should all have this feeling of increase, abundance, advancement, almost like you're projecting success, which then brings more success back to you.
It's the power of belief, like radiating the sense that you're in the flow of good things. You draw more to yourself. And it inspires others too. Think about those people you admire, the successful ones. They usually have that aura, right? Like confidence and abundance just flows from them.
It's contagious, right? They attract good things and everyone around them benefits.
Totally. And it's not about showing off. It's about that abundance mindset, letting it flow out in everything you do. You become like a magnet for success.
Now, Wattles isn't naive. He knows it's not sunshine and rainbows every day. He throws out some cautions, like don't seek power over others.
Yeah.
He says real wealth comes from creativity, not competition.
Yeah, he sees that desire for control as a trap. It creates this win-lose thing that's just destructive. True power, he says, comes from mastering yourself, not controlling other people.
So instead of climbing over others to get to the top, he's saying create something new.
Yeah.
Something valuable, something that benefits everyone.
Exactly. It's about tapping into that creative potential, working together, not getting stuck in competition.
He also says, stay positive, avoid negativity, even when things are tough. He tells this great story about a student. The guy's business deal falls apart, total flop. But guess what? It leads him to an even better opportunity.
Wattles really believes that setbacks, they're often like stepping stones to bigger successes. It's about keeping the faith, keeping perspective, even when things don't go as planned.
Like those so-called failures, they're really just course corrections. They're pushing you in the right direction.
Yeah, he wants you to see challenges as chances to grow, to learn, not as roadblocks.
So we dug into some of the big ideas in the science of getting rich, like the power of thought, gratitude, faith, all that. But now let's get into the nitty-gritty. How do we actually make this stuff work?
Okay, well, one of the things that really jumps out is that Waddle says competition, it's actually a problem, like a roadblock to wealth. He thinks instead of trying to get a bigger piece of the pie, we should be making the pie bigger, creating more for everyone.
So it's not about beating other people. It's about creating something new, something that benefits everyone. That's a pretty big shift, right?
It is, yeah. Imagine a world where everyone, even your competitors, are helping to make things better, to create more abundance. Wattles even says, give more than you take, not just in money, but in value. That's how everyone gets richer, he says.
That's a tall order, though, right?
Yeah.
How do you actually do that in real life?
Let me try to give you an example. Say you're a baker, right? If you're just focused on making the most money, you might skimp on ingredients, charge a ton. But what if you really give your customers a great experience? Delicious bread, good ingredients, fair price. You build loyalty, people tell their friends, everyone wins. You're not just selling bread, you're adding value.
So every interaction, it should be a win-win.
Exactly. Wattles thinks abundance, not scarcity, that's what creates those win-win situations. That's what leads to real prosperity.
Okay, let's talk about willpower for a second. Wattles says we shouldn't use it to control other people. But how should we be using it? What does he say about that?
He's really clear on that. Any attempt to force people, to control them, physically or mentally, he sees it as a form of slavery. It goes against the whole idea of creation. Real power, he says, is self-mastery, not domination.
So instead of bending the world to our will, we should be aligning ourselves with those natural laws of creation.
That's it. Waddle says the main job of our will is to keep us focused, to keep our thoughts and actions in line with those principles of creation and abundance. It's like a rudder, to keep us on course even when things get rough.
I like that, like a ship captain, right? Battling through a storm. You got to have that willpower, that focus to stay on track.
Exactly. And Waddle says we got to protect our thoughts. No dwelling on poverty, on lack. We should be thinking about all the good stuff that's already there and the even better stuff that we're creating.
It's a choice every day. Focus on what we want, not what we're afraid of.
He even says, stay away from the news. Anything that focuses on the negative, on suffering. He says it messes with your mindset, makes it harder to manifest wealth.
Interesting. It's like he's saying if you're always looking at lack, you're actually feeding it.
Right. Our attention, it's powerful, he says. Whatever we focus on, it grows. If we put our attention on the things we want, we draw them closer.
Take that gratitude thing again, right? The more you focus on what you're grateful for, the more abundance you see.
Exactly. Gratitude aligns us with those creative forces. It's recognizing the good stuff, which then opens us up to receive even more.
But I mean, we can't just sit around being grateful and visualizing, right?
Yeah.
We got to do something, right?
Of course. Action is key. Wattles is adamant about that. He says thought sets things in motion, but action is how we receive the wealth. It's about making things happen.
So it's like a dance, between intention and action. Mind sets the vision, body makes it real.
He keeps saying, act now. Don't wait for the perfect time, the right opportunity. Do something now to get closer to your goals.
Like his example of the sewing machine. You don't just wish for it, you figure out how to get it. Save up, trade, whatever it takes. Intention and action together.
And it's got to be the right kind of action. He's big on efficiency. It's not just about being busy. It's about doing things that move you forward.
Quality over quantity. Do the things that really matter with purpose.
He even says, picture the outcome while you're working. Like, put that energy, that belief into every action, even the small stuff.
Almost like mindfulness, You're not just going through the motions, you're shaping your reality with every step.
That's the idea. Even the little things become part of something bigger when you bring your full attention to them.
Wattles also talks about finding the right work. Something you're good at, something you enjoy. Is he saying we should all quit our jobs and become artists?
Not necessarily. I mean, he knows not everyone can just up and leave what they're doing. But he does want us to think about it. Is this work a good fit? Does it use our skills, our passions? If not, what can we do, even a little bit, to change that?
So it's not just about the money, it's about doing something meaningful.
Absolutely. When our work is in line with who we are, success comes easier. It's more fulfilling.
Let's talk about something he calls the impression of increase. He applies it to everything, not just work.
Right. He says every interaction, professional, personal, it should all project this sense of abundance, advancement, growth. Like you're radiating success, and that attracts more success.
It's not about bragging. It's about having that mindset, letting it flow out in how you interact with people.
Like a magnet. People are drawn to that, Confidence, optimism, belief. It rubs off on others.
And when you reflect that back to them, it creates this positive cycle. Everyone benefits.
Wattles thinks people are drawn to those who can give them more. Not just money, but knowledge, inspiration, opportunities.
So you become a source of abundance, which then creates more abundance for you.
Right. He says try to give more than you take in every interaction. That's how we all get richer.
This whole radiating success thing, it's powerful. But Wattles is careful to say it's not about power over other people.
He doesn't like that, seeking power for yourself. He says it leads to competition, which backfires in the end.
So it's not about being in charge or using your success to control others.
True power, he says, comes from mastering yourself, not dominating other people.
So it's about conscious leadership, not control.
Right. Real wealth, he says, it comes from collaboration, not competition. When we work together towards abundance for the common good, that's when everyone wins.
Okay, but what about when things go wrong? Wattles knows it happens. How do we deal with setbacks without losing momentum?
He says things that look like failures, they're often just stepping stones, like leading you to something better. He tells this story about a student. His business deal totally tanks, but it opens up a way better opportunity.
Those setbacks, they're like blessings in disguise, pointing you in a new direction.
He wants us to see challenges as chances to learn, to grow, not as the end of the world.
So trust the process, even when it takes a detour.
Yeah. He says the universe is always working for us, even when we don't see it.
That's reassuring. But how do you hold on to that belief when things are tough?
He says, no negative self-talk. Don't dwell on the past. Focus on now, what you can do with faith and purpose.
So focus on solutions, not problems.
Right. He thinks when we stay positive, when we focus on the good, it makes it easier for success to grow.
Wattles also talks about watching what you say, your words. Why is that so important?
He thinks words have power. When we talk about moving forward, about possibilities, it strengthens our own belief and inspires others. But if we complain, focus on the negative, it just creates more lack.
So choose your words carefully. You're shaping your reality with what you say.
He even says, don't complain about tough times. It just makes the negativity stronger.
Shift your language from scarcity to abundance. See challenges as opportunities. Speak what you want into existence.
He believes when you have that positive mindset, you're more open to the creative forces of the universe. Your words become seeds, planting the potential for a better future.
He's clear, though, this isn't a quick fix. It takes dedication, consistent effort.
Yeah, he says, make these principles a part of your life. Think about them. Act on them every day. Read the book every day, he says. Memorize it. Don't get distracted by other ideas.
Stick with it. Focus on the basics. Don't chase shiny objects.
He's convinced if you do that, if you're consistent, it will lead to the wealth and abundance you're looking for.
Okay, so we've talked about a lot of stuff in the science of getting rich. Thought, action, aligning ourselves with abundance. But Wattles doesn't stop there. He actually paints this picture of, what happens when these ideas spread? What a world could look like if everyone was on board with this.
Yeah, it's pretty wild. He thinks as more people get rich this way, through creation, not competition, it's going to change things.
Yeah.
Big time. Systems, institutions, everything. Imagine a world where abundance is just normal.
So not just personal change, but a ripple effect, outward, changing society. That's pretty optimistic, don't you think? Especially, looking at the world today.
He wrote this book over 100 years ago. It's crazy. But it still feels relevant. He really believed that, if more people got wealthy through creating, instead of fighting over scraps, it would make the world fairer, more just. Everyone would benefit.
He's not saying we gotta, overthrow everything.
Yeah.
Start a revolution.
No, nothing like that. He thought it would be more gradual, like a natural evolution. As people wake up to their creative potential, they start living differently. He says those old systems, they might make it hard, but they can't actually stop someone from getting rich if they're following the right principles.
So change from the inside out. Starts with us, spreads to our communities, and eventually, who knows, maybe the whole world.
Exactly. He sees a world where people work together, not against each other. Abundance is the driving force. And eventually, even our institutions catch up.
Okay, that's a nice thought. But how do we actually, put this into practice in our own lives?
Well, Wattles has some ideas. He says, when you achieve wealth this way, share what you learned. Help other people do it too.
I like that. Paying it forward, but with wealth creation.
Yeah.
Not just hoarding it, but empowering others to create abundance.
He also knows it's not always easy. There are going to be roadblocks, things that trip you up.
What kind of things should we watch out for?
He says fear, doubt, worry, big ones. Those negative emotions, they block you. Stop the abundance from flowing.
So stay positive, even when it's tough. That's important.
And he says be careful about getting too caught up in esoteric stuff, occult practices, all that. He doesn't say it's bad, but it can be a distraction. It takes you away from the practical steps you need to take.
Stay grounded. Focus on what you can do. Don't get lost in the weeds.
Right. And be careful what you read, what you watch. Avoid the negativity, the doom and gloom. Fill your mind with stuff that inspires you, that makes you believe in yourself.
It's like what you feed your mind matters.
Right.
Just like your body.
Wattles reminds us this is a journey. You're growing, developing. It takes time. Be patient, celebrate the wins, learn from the mistakes.
No need to be perfect right away. Just keep moving forward.
He says we all have access to this, infinite wisdom. Call it the original substance, universal mind, whatever. It's there. You tap into it through faith, gratitude, that desire to move forward.
It's good to remember, you're not alone in this. There's something bigger supporting you. And you've got what it takes to overcome anything.
And he says don't ever give up on those dreams. Believe in yourself, and approach every day with purpose.
Powerful stuff. Wattles wants us to step up, become creators, claim that abundance, and help build a world where everyone has a chance to thrive. I think that's a message worth remembering. So as we wrap this up, what were some of the things that really resonated with you from The Science of Getting Rich?
For me, it was the power of thought, that gratitude piece. It's a good reminder we're not just, at the mercy of fate. We have a say in creating our reality.
I really like the idea that competition is actually holding us back. That vision of a world where everyone's collaborating, focused on abundance, that's something I can get behind. What about you? What stood out?
I think it was the whole aligning your actions with your beliefs thing. It's not enough to just think about it. You got to do something. Make it happen.
Well said. And with that, we come to the end of our deep dive into The Science of Getting Rich. It's a book that makes you think differently about wealth, about your own potential, and what the world could be like. If you're ready to start creating your own abundance, Wattles says, keep this book close, read it, reread it, let it guide you.
He says, and I love this quote, the world is not going to the devil, it is going to God. It is wonderfully becoming. So remember that, be grateful, and step into that power you have to create. The riches are out there waiting for you.
That's a wrap for us. Until next time, keep exploring, keep learning, keep diving deep.